Let me describe two people and tell me which one you think is more worried about their job right now. Person A is a 34-year-old financial analyst at a mid-size investment firm. She has a finance degree, a CFA qualification, spends her days building Excel models, writing research reports, and analyzing earnings data. She earns $95,000 a year. She works at a desk. Everything she produces is a document, a spreadsheet, or a presentation. Person B is a 41-year-old plumber. He spent 4 years as an apprentice, runs his own small business, shows up at people's houses and fixes things that are broken. He earns $78,000 a year. He works with his hands. Who is more scared of AI replacing them? If you said Person A, the financial analyst, you are correct. And if that surprises you, it means you have been consuming the wrong narrative about what AI actually does and who it actually threatens. Because the story that most people have absorbed goes something like this. AI and automation are coming for the repetitive, physical, low-skill jobs. The factory workers, the truck drivers, the warehouse pickers, the cashiers, the jobs that don't require a college degree, the jobs at the bottom of the income distribution. And the knowledge workers, the analysts, the lawyers, the programmers, the accountants, they're safe. Because they do complex, creative, judgment-intensive work. That's what requires humans. That's what AI can't replicate. That narrative is not just wrong. It is almost perfectly inverted, and the data published in the last 3 months, from Anthropic, from Goldman Sachs, from the IMF, from MIT, is now clear enough that continuing to repeat the wrong version is no longer excusable. Let me tell you what is actually happening. Anthropic, the company that makes Claude, one of the most widely used AI systems in the world, published a labor market impacts report in March 2026. Unlike most AI job displacement research, which is theoretical, built on models of what AI could do, Anthropic's report is based on actual usage data. What are people actually using AI for right now, today, in the real world? The answer is not writing poetry or generating images or playing chess. The answer is computer programming, financial analysis, customer service, legal research, content writing, data analysis, and accounting. The jobs that require a college education, pay above median salaries, and are performed at a desk on a computer. The 3 most AI-exposed job categories based on actual real-world usage data are computer programmers, customer service representatives, and financial analysts. Not factory workers, not truck drivers, not anyone who works with their hands. And the reason is mechanically obvious once you think about it. AI, specifically large language models, is software that processes text and generates text. It reads documents and produces documents. It analyzes data in spreadsheet format and generates summaries. It understands code and writes code. These are precisely and specifically the tasks that knowledge workers perform all day long. The financial analyst's entire job is reading financial documents, building models from data, and writing reports about what the data means. AI can do every single one of those component tasks right now, today, at a level of quality that is already commercially competitive in many contexts. The plumber's job involves diagnosing a physical problem in a physical space, navigating a house, fitting pipes into specific configurations that are different every single time, making judgment calls about materials and solutions, based on tactile feedback and visual inspection, and doing it all with hands that can fit into tight spaces and apply precise force. There is no AI system in existence that can do any of that. There won't be one for years. Possibly decades. The irony is almost cruel. 4 years of college to do a job that AI can do. 4 years of apprenticeship to do a job that AI cannot touch. Now let me put numbers on this because the scale of what is coming is not small. Goldman Sachs estimates that AI will reduce monthly U.S. payroll growth by roughly 16,000 jobs per month. That is already happening. In the first 6 months of 2025 alone, 77,999 tech jobs were directly attributed to AI-driven layoffs. Wall Street banks have announced plans to eliminate approximately 200,000 positions over the next 3 to 5 years, primarily in entry-level and back-office roles. About 1 in 6 employers say they expect AI to reduce headcount in 2026. Among large private sector firms, 26% are planning workforce cuts linked to AI adoption. And here is the number that should stop every university student cold. 7.5 million data entry and administrative roles could disappear by 2027. Not by 2050, by 2027. 18 months from now, these are not factory jobs, these are office jobs. Entry-level analyst positions. Junior associate roles at law firms, back-office processing jobs at banks. The first rung of the professional career ladder, the jobs that college graduates take to gain experience before moving up, are being automated away before the people who were supposed to fill them have even graduated. Goldman Sachs found something specific that gets almost no coverage. The impact of AI on the labor market is heavily front-loaded toward entry-level and younger workers. Not because AI is targeting young people specifically, but because the jobs that require the least experience are the ones most easily replaced. The tasks that a first-year analyst does, building basic models, formatting documents, compiling research, drafting initial versions of presentations, are exactly the tasks that AI can replicate most reliably. The tasks that a senior analyst does, client relationships, judgment calls, original strategic insight, accountability for outcomes, these require something that AI does not yet have. So the career ladder is being removed from the bottom up. Senior professionals are relatively protected. Mid-career professionals are seeing their scope change. And the entry-level pathway that used to exist, start at the bottom, learn the basics, work your way up, is disappearing. The bottom rungs are being automated away. And the people who were supposed to use those rungs to climb don't have an obvious alternative path. This is not theoretical. This is measurable. Anthropic's report found that AI usage is already impacting employment decisions at companies that have adopted it. The firms that have deployed AI tools for coding, financial analysis, and legal research are not just using AI to help their existing employees. 40% of companies that adopt AI choose automation over augmentation, meaning they use AI to replace workers, not to support them. Now let me be precise about something important, because there is a real risk of catastrophizing here, and the data does not fully support catastrophe. Not yet. Goldman Sachs also found something that the doom narrative ignores. In jobs where AI augments rather than replaces, where AI makes a human worker more productive rather than eliminating the need for them, employment is actually increasing. The AI augmentation effect creates more demand for the product or service, which creates more demand for the human workers who produce it. The net effect on total employment so far, according to Goldman's economists, has been modest. A 0.1 percentage point increase in unemployment. A reduction of 16,000 jobs per month in payroll growth. Real, but not catastrophic. The distinction is between substitution and complementarity. When AI substitutes for a human, does the same task and eliminates the need for the human, jobs disappear. When AI complements a human, makes them faster, more capable, more productive, jobs expand because the output becomes cheaper and demand grows. And right now, both things are happening simultaneously. In some roles, AI is substituting. In others, it is complementing. The question for any individual is which category their job falls into. And the honest answer is that for most knowledge workers, the answer is, it depends on which part of your job we're talking about. The parts that are routine, predictable, document-based, and can be specified clearly, those are the substitution targets. The parts that require relationships, judgment, accountability, and the navigation of ambiguity that other humans cannot or will not specify, those are the complementarity zones. The financial analyst, who spends 60% of her time building the same model template over and over, and 40% of her time talking to management, making calls about which numbers to trust, and defending her conclusions in a meeting, she is 60% at risk and 40% protected. The question is whether the 40% protected work is enough to justify her full salary. At many firms, the answer to that question is becoming no. Let me give you the specific job categories and be direct about where each one sits. High substitution risk. These jobs are losing work to AI now. Junior software developers doing routine code writing and debugging. Entry-level financial analysts doing data compilation and basic modeling. Customer service representatives handling standard queries. Paralegals doing document review and legal research. Copywriters producing standard marketing content. Data entry and administrative staff. Radiologists reading standard scan images. AI diagnostic tools are already outperforming humans on certain scan types. Entry-level accountants doing bookkeeping and tax preparation. Lower substitution risk. These jobs are changing but not disappearing. Senior software engineers doing architecture decisions and system design. Experienced financial analysts who own client relationships. Trial lawyers who appear in court and argue to juries. Surgeons performing complex procedures. Teachers managing classrooms and developing relationships with students. therapists, and counselors. Managers who make organizational decisions and carry accountability for outcomes, essentially zero substitution risk. These jobs are safe for the foreseeable future. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, carpenters, all skilled trades involving physical work in variable environments. Nurses doing hands-on patient care, physical therapists, child care workers, emergency responders, construction workers, chefs doing creative menu development and kitchen management. Anyone whose primary value comes from being physically present and physically capable in an environment that changes every time. The irony of this distribution is profound. For most of the industrial era, the assumption was that physical labor was lower status and lower paid than knowledge work. The factory worker was supposed to be replaced by the professional. The blue-collar worker was the one whose job was threatened by technology. The white-collar worker was safe. AI has inverted this entirely. The knowledge worker, whose entire output is documents, analyses, and decisions made by reading and writing, is the person whose job is most replicable by a system that reads and writes. The person whose job requires showing up in a physical space, using physical tools, solving problems that are different every time. That person is, ironically, the one whose job AI cannot currently threaten. And there is a second-order effect here that nobody is discussing clearly enough. The jobs that AI is replacing are disproportionately the ones that use to provide the entry point into professional careers. The junior analyst position, the first-year associate role, the entry-level programmer job. These were not just jobs. They were training positions. They were how you learned to be a senior analyst, a partner, an architect. They were the experience-building pipeline that produced the senior professionals who are currently protected. If the pipeline is destroyed, if there are no junior positions because they've all been automated, the pipeline of senior talent eventually runs dry. The senior professionals who are protected today became senior by doing the junior work for years. The generation entering the workforce now cannot do the same thing, because the junior work no longer exists at scale. What this means for how professional expertise gets developed and transmitted over the next 20 years is a question that nobody has seriously answered, and the consequences extend beyond individual career paths. Goldman Sachs has been explicit that AI's impact on employment is already being felt in the labor market data. The tech industry laid off nearly 80,000 people in the first quarter of 2026 alone. Youth unemployment has been above 10% for 6 months, and the jobs being created to replace the ones being lost are not equivalent in number or quality, at least not yet. The economic consensus is that AI will eventually create new categories of work that don't currently exist, just as the internet did. But the transition is painful for the generation caught in the middle of it. Where does this leave you? If your job involves producing documents, analyzing data, writing code, or processing information in ways that can be specified precisely, you need to be honest about which parts of your role are substitution targets. You need to actively move your work toward the complementarity zone. The relationship management, the judgment calls, the accountability, the things that require a human to own the outcome, not just to produce the output. If you are considering a career path, the data strongly suggests that skilled trades, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, construction, are not just economically safe from AI disruption. They are experiencing a labor shortage that AI cannot solve. The median plumber in America already earns more than the median college graduate. The gap is going to widen as AI compresses wages in knowledge work, while demand for skilled tradespeople continues to outpace supply. And if you are a student or a parent thinking about education, the calculus has fundamentally changed. A degree in a field whose core tasks are document production and data analysis is now competing with a technology that can do those tasks for essentially zero marginal cost. That doesn't mean the degree is worthless. It means the value of the degree is now concentrated in the parts of the career path that AI cannot reach, and understanding which parts those are, before choosing the degree, is more important than it has ever been. The AI jobs lie is not that AI is taking jobs. It is that we have been told the wrong jobs are at risk. The people who were supposed to be safe are the most exposed. The people who were supposed to be threatened are the most protected. And the sooner we stop telling the comfortable version of this story and start looking clearly at the data, the better positioned the people listening to this are going to be. So I want to hear from you. Do you think A, Your job is in the substitution category, and you're actively changing what you do to stay relevant. B. Your job is in the complementarity category, and AI is making you more productive rather than threatening you. Or C. You're in a skilled trade or physically demanding role, and you're watching all of this from a position of relative safety and finding it mildly satisfying. Drop it in the comments, because I genuinely want to know where the people watching this actually sit in this picture.